Hey there, curious minds. Welcome to The Human Curious, where we journey into the mysteries of our shared past and uncover the secrets left behind by our ancestors. If you love exploring ancient wonders, decoding lost languages, and connecting the dots of human history, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share with fellow history buffs, and give us a like to support more fascinating discoveries. Ready to step into the footsteps of those who came before us? Let's begin our adventure together. Our adventure. Deep within the earth, there are silent chambers hidden from the sun. Here our ancestors left us a message with images. They painted a world now lost, teeming with colossal beasts and mysterious spirits. In Lascaux, mighty bulls charge across stone ceilings. In Chauvet cave, lions and mammoths are depicted with breathtaking skill. They are masterpieces created by minds as complex as our own. What drove these early humans to create such magnificent works? The outline of a human hand, a signature across the millennia, says, "I was here." It invites us to look closer and ask, what if these paintings are a language we have forgotten? Imagine understanding this ancient language. What if we unlocked its secrets? The paintings could be a library of lost knowledge, a detailed record of prehistoric life. For decades, we've guessed their meaning. We have imagined our ancestors hoping to ensure a successful hunt. Another theory suggests these caves were sacred spaces. Perhaps the paintings were created by shamans. In this view, the caves are not art galleries, but the first cathedrals of humankind. Perhaps the paintings are stories, grand murals to tell tales of great hunts. The cave was their library, their history book, and their cinema all in one. The truth is, we do not know for sure. The mystery endures. What if we could finally decode the animal symbols in cave paintings? What would our ancestors tell us? For many years, the most popular explanation for cave art was deceptively simple: hunting magic. The idea was that our ancestors painted animals like bison, deer, and horses in the dark, sacred spaces of caves before a hunt. By creating the image of a successful hunt, they believed they could ensure success in the real world. This theory connects the art directly to survival. The act of painting was a vital, practical ceremony. However, as more cave art was studied, this theory began to show cracks. Researchers noticed that the animals most frequently painted were not always the ones most frequently hunted. The hunting magic theory also doesn't fully explain the other mysterious elements within the caves, like the strange geometric signs. It seems hunting magic was only one small piece of a much larger, more complex puzzle. As the limitations of the hunting theory became clear, a new and profound idea emerged. This theory proposed that the caves were not just ritual spaces, but portals to another dimension. The artists, it was suggested, were shamans. These were the spiritual specialists of their communities, individuals who could mediate between the world of the living and the world of the spirits. The paintings were not depictions of real animals, but of the powerful spirit guides and supernatural beings the shamans encountered during altered states of consciousness. The journey into the dark, silent, and disorienting cave itself could have helped induce a trance-like state, preparing the shaman for their spiritual quest. This shamanistic theory offers a compelling explanation for some of the art's most baffling features. The strange, distorted, and sometimes half-human, half-animal figures, like the famous sorcerer of the Trois Frères cave, make perfect sense as visions from a spiritual journey. The geometric patterns and symbols could represent the visual phenomena experienced during a trance, such as dots, grids, and shimmering lights. The cave walls themselves were not just a canvas, but a veil between worlds. The natural bumps and cracks in the rock were seen as points where the spirit world was breaking through, and the shaman would paint over them to bring the vision fully into our world. The placement of the art deep within the earth also supports this idea. These were not public art galleries meant for the whole tribe to admire. They were sacred, hidden sanctuaries, accessible only to the initiated. The difficult journey required to reach them was part of the ritual, a physical trial that mirrored the spiritual journey the shaman was undertaking. The darkness, the silence, and the echoing sounds would have created a powerful sensory experience, heightening the feeling of being in a different reality. The cave was the first cathedral, a place where humanity sought connection with the divine and the unseen forces that governed their lives. This theory transforms our understanding of the artists. They were not just hunters or storytellers, they were visionaries, mystics, and the intellectual pioneers of their time. They were exploring the biggest questions of existence. What is the nature of reality? Is there a world beyond our senses? What is our place in the cosmos? The paintings become a record of humanity's earliest spiritual explorations, a map of the soul's journey. It suggests that the desire to connect with something larger than ourselves is not a modern invention, but one of the most ancient and fundamental aspects of the human experience, etched onto stone tens of thousands of years ago. Another perspective suggests the paintings were part of a structured system of communication, a sophisticated language of signs and symbols. Early humans used the images to store and transmit complex information. The caves were, in effect, a prehistoric library. The animals, symbols, and their arrangements were deliberately placed to convey specific meanings, creating a visual narrative. This preserved knowledge across generations in a world without writing. Certain animals frequently appear together, while others are almost never paired. Specific symbols are often associated with particular animals, suggesting a kind of syntax. The artists were using an established symbolic system, a shared cultural language. The art was a form of information technology. The paintings might represent seasonal cycles, tracking the migration of herds and the changing of the stars. The cave was a classroom, a history book, and a survival manual. They were keen observers, capable of abstract thought. Each theory offers a fascinating window into the minds of our ancestors. These paintings are far more than just pictures of animals. For over a century, the story of our artistic origins was a distinctly European tale. The magnificent painted caves of France and Spain, such as Lascaux, Chauvet, and Altamira, were considered the cradle of human creativity. The narrative was powerful and deeply entrenched in our understanding of prehistory, suggesting this dawn of art happened on one continent. This Eurocentric view shaped our theories for generations, placing these caves at the very beginning of our shared cultural journey. It unknowingly sidelined the rest of the world, assuming that such ancient and advanced artistic expression was a localized development. But our planet holds many secrets, and the story of our past is constantly being rewritten by new discoveries. Deep in the tropical rainforests of Southeast Asia, a revelation was waiting. On the Indonesian islands of Sulawesi and Borneo, researchers began to investigate caves that contained their own ancient paintings. For a long time, these artworks were thought to be much younger than their European counterparts. This assumption, however, would prove to be spectacularly wrong. The truth began to emerge with the application of new dating techniques. The results were staggering, showing that the art in these Indonesian caves was tens of thousands of years old. Suddenly, the timeline of human creativity was shattered. The story of art was no longer confined to Europe. It was now a global story. The island of Sulawesi became the epicenter of a new understanding of art history. In a cave named Liang Tedonga, researchers found a painting of a Sulawesi warty pig. The pig painting was at least 45,500 years old. This made it the oldest known figurative painting of an animal anywhere in the world. In another nearby cave, Liang Bulu Sipong 4, an even more incredible scene was uncovered. This scene, dated to at least 43,900 years ago, is currently the oldest known depiction of a story. These Indonesian discoveries have fundamentally altered our understanding of human cognitive and cultural evolution. The story of art is not one location. It is the story of our entire species. The Indonesian revelations force us to rethink the timeline of the modern human mind. The art from Sulawesi and Borneo pushes back the date of the creative explosion significantly and places it on a global stage. It seems the capacity for sophisticated thinking was present in our species much earlier, even before our ancestors left Africa. They possessed the cognitive tools to create complex art. They were thriving culturally and intellectually. The paintings are the oldest evidence of this rich inner life. The drive to create is a universal human trait. If similar art emerged independently, is there a universal language of Paleolithic art? The underlying motivations might be the same, suggesting a shared way of thinking about the world. Ultimately, the Indonesian discoveries tell a profound story about our shared humanity. They reveal a pattern of parallel innovation across the globe. The art is a testament to the universal dawn of human consciousness. Let's imagine we've made an incredible archaeological find, deep in a cave system. A prehistoric Rosetta Stone etched onto a hidden stone tablet finally allows us to understand the symbolic language of cave art. For the first time, they would speak to us clearly across 40,000 years. What secrets would these ancient messages reveal? Rewriting the first chapters of the human story, not through ruined cities, but through their deepest thoughts. We would learn what they thought, believed, and valued, recovering the very origins of human intellectual culture. Decoding this system would provide a direct link to the minds that navigated the Ice Age world, a message sent into the future by the very first modern humans. A holistic system of knowledge that reflects a worldview where these concepts were deeply intertwined. Let us explore the great secrets waiting for us on the ancient walls of stone. Quick break! If you're enjoying this journey through ancient mysteries, let us know in the comments, what's the most surprising thing you've learned so far? We love hearing your thoughts and discoveries. And don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into the secrets of our past. Now let's dive back into the wonders hidden on those ancient cave walls. One of the most mind-bending possibilities is that the animal paintings are not just about the world on the ground, but also the world above. What if the positions of the animals on the cave walls are not random, but actually represent a sophisticated map of the night sky? Some researchers have already proposed this tantalizing theory. They suggest that the famous Hall of the Bulls in Lascaux, for example, is not just a herd of animals. Instead, it could be an ancient star chart. The great bull itself might represent the constellation we now call Taurus, with a cluster of dots painted near its shoulder perfectly matching the position of the Pleiades star cluster, also known as the Seven Sisters. If our prehistoric Rosetta Stone confirmed this, it would prove that our ancestors were accomplished astronomers thousands of years before the Babylonians or the Egyptians. It would mean they were not just passively looking at the stars, but actively tracking their movements, identifying constellations, and using this knowledge in their daily lives. They would have understood the connection between the changing position of the stars and the changing of the seasons on Earth. This celestial knowledge would have been vital for survival, allowing them to predict the arrival of winter, the best times for hunting migrating herds, and the ideal moments for community gatherings and rituals. They were reading the cosmos like a giant clock and calendar. This discovery would completely reframe our view of the intellectual capabilities of Paleolithic people. It would demonstrate a capacity for long-term observation, data recording, and abstract thinking on a scale previously thought impossible for that era. The cave would be transformed from a simple art gallery into a prehistoric planetarium, a sacred space where the map of the heavens was etched onto the rock. The animal figures would take on a dual meaning. The bison on the wall was both a powerful creature of the physical world and a representation of a stellar pattern that held the key to understanding time and the cycles of nature. The implications would stretch even further. Perhaps different caves mapped different sections of the sky or tracked different celestial events, like the phases of the moon or the paths of visible planets. The abstract signs, the grids and lines could represent calculations or predictions related to eclipses or solstices. We would learn that our ancestors possessed a deep scientific understanding of their place in the universe. They were not just inhabitants of the Earth, they were citizens of the cosmos. The first great human intellectual adventure was not exploring the land, but charting the heavens. Imagine if the cave paintings were more than art. What if they were survival manuals, packed with practical knowledge for life in the Paleolithic world? Each animal could be a chapter. A bison's pose might reveal migration routes, lines on its flank the number of hunters needed, and nearby plants a guide to what's edible or dangerous. Abstract signs could show tracks, calls, or weak points for hunting, turning the painting into a dense infographic of ecological wisdom. These images would reveal our ancestors as master naturalists, their knowledge of extinct animals' migration and plants preserved on stone. Decoding this prehistoric encyclopedia would transform our understanding of Ice Age life, offering scientists a treasure trove of lost information. We'd see that these people weren't just surviving. They were observing and recording and passing down knowledge with scientific precision. The caves were their libraries, the walls their pages. By learning to read their language, we might rediscover ancient ecological wisdom relevant even today. Their art would become a bridge, connecting us to a legacy of survival and understanding. The past would speak not just of what was, but of what could still be learned. But what if the paintings are more than survival guides? What if they're spiritual maps? Imagine animal symbols as deities or forces, the cave a sanctuary where the physical and spiritual worlds meet. A horse could embody freedom, a bison strength, a bear the cycle of death and rebirth. Therianthropes, half-human, half-animal figures, might be shamans or gods, bridging human and divine. The art could narrate creation myths, moral codes, and the origins of belief, offering a visual genesis. Decoding this spiritual language would reveal how our ancestors grappled with life's mysteries: birth, death, consciousness. The cave's darkness becomes a metaphorical descent into the underworld, a quest for enlightenment. We'd see their inner worlds were as complex as ours, their search for meaning timeless. In reading their art, we'd find not just stories, but the diary of the awakening human soul. Their spiritual journey would echo in our own, connecting us across millennia. Decoding the art could give us a vivid snapshot of daily Paleolithic life, far beyond what archaeology alone reveals. Animal groupings might map out clans, alliances, or social hierarchies, turning the walls into chronicles of community. Paintings could show lost technologies, hunting tactics, nets, traps, or even clothing and baskets, filling gaps in our knowledge. Hand stencils might be a sign language or a way to identify individuals and their roles. Patterns of dots and lines could be musical notation, letting us reconstruct the first human music and rituals. The art would come alive, echoing with the sounds and rhythms of ancient ceremonies. We might even trace the work of individual artists, learning about their lives, skills, and influence. These anonymous creators would step from the shadows, becoming real people with stories to tell. Their messages would be more than history. They'd be voices, personalities, and visions preserved in stone. We'd meet the messengers, not just read their messages. Decoding cave art would finally reveal the true minds of our ancestors, modern, complex, and deeply thoughtful. We'd see their capacity for science, art, and spirituality, erasing the myth of the primitive caveman. Their struggles and triumphs would resonate as fundamentally human, bridging the gulf of time. The art would be a testament to our enduring quest for meaning, knowledge, and connection. Reading their messages would feel like receiving a letter from the dawn of our family. We'd learn that the roots of science, art, and religion lie deep in the caves of the Ice Age. By learning their language, we'd be learning about ourselves. A journey home to the origins of human consciousness. Their voices, immortalized on stone, would finally be heard. The urge to understand our world and our origins is timeless, echoing through science, faith, and art. Ancient paintings aren't just relics, they're signs, lessons, and wisdom left for future generations. Many spiritual traditions, like the Quran, urge us to reflect on the signs of the past, to gain knowledge and humility. The diversity of cave art mirrors the diversity of humanity, each painting a message for those of knowledge. These works are more than artifacts. They're a testament to the dawn of human creativity and consciousness. Decoding them becomes a sacred quest, merging scientific curiosity with spiritual reflection. The animals, symbols, and handprints are messages waiting to be read, fulfilling a sacred injunction to learn from the past. In seeking their meaning, we read the first chapter of human history, a story of our earliest attempts to understand the universe. These ancient paintings are humanity's first language, a visual medium for expressing complex ideas and emotions before writing existed. Crafted from pigment and stone, this universal tongue captured the essence of existence and our relationship with the world. The diversity of cave art reflects the diversity of human expression, a global impulse to create and communicate. Each cave is a dialect, offering a unique perspective but sharing a common origin in human consciousness. Decoding cave art is an act of translation, bridging time and culture to understand our ancestors' hearts and minds. It's a respectful endeavor, honoring their legacy and recognizing their wisdom. These paintings are sacred texts, records of the human spirit grappling with questions that still define us. In reading these signs, we join a timeless dialogue about what it means to be human. A conversation that began in the flickering torchlight of an Ice Age cave. Though the true meaning of the paintings may remain out of reach, a secret whispered between the stone and the shadows. It connects us to the artists who, thousands of years ago, descended into the darkness with a torch and a vision. These paintings are the very first evidence of the modern human mind grappling with the abstract. They are a testament to our species' need to create, to communicate, and to leave a mark. We were here, we saw, we felt, we wondered. When we see a modern hand placed next to these stencils, we feel an undeniable connection. Their voice remains powerfully preserved on the cave walls, speaking of a shared consciousness. By seeking to decode these symbols, we journey into our past and the nature of our minds. This was the first story of humanity. They sent a message into the future. Their voice remains on the stone, waiting for us to learn their language. The conversation is just beginning. Thanks for watching The Human Curious. If you enjoyed this exploration, please subscribe, share with friends, and leave a comment below with your thoughts or questions. Your curiosity fuels our next adventure, and we'd love to have you along for the journey. See you in the next episode.